Good afternoon, a very warm welcome to Milton Keynes as we get ready to bring you the Elite Men's World Cup Cyclo-Cross event here. This crowd has swelled even more as they've made their way out of the expo areas, and they're all by the circuit side to enjoy today's race. 56 riders taken to the start of the men's elite race, 15 nations. And if it's as thrilling as the women's race, we are in for an absolute belter of a race this afternoon. It's going to be fantastic. The weather conditions improving all the time. The light is now fantastic. And we'll take a little look at where we are right now. Milton Keynes then right in the centre of England, and a place that is really looking to attract world-class level events. It's an area that really enjoys its sport, very much a business city and a new city really in England. The layout has some fantastic facilities, indoor ski slopes and all sorts. You can even go indoor skydiving here in Milton Keynes. Well, there's the World Cup standings after the second round in Coxada. It was Kevin Powles who took the lead with 140 points. Tom Musen in second, Klaas Vantenut in third, and Korn van Kessel there in fourth place. But of course, as we're only 2 rounds in, this is the third round, things will certainly start to change. The big surprise there is that in 9th place is Lars van der Haar, who is the young Dutch rider who was the World Cup winner previously. But Lars was ill in Coxada. He was on antibiotics and recovering. As you can see, the weather conditions now 11 degrees centigrade. So Lars, will see how he has recovered in time for today's race. Here's the course then, same course as the women, nothing changes. The length is 2.6 kilometers. If you joined us for the women's race, you'll have an idea of what the course is like. But this is it. It twists and turns. It's very muddy and slidey. So you have to get your tyre pressures right, you have to get the line right on all the corners, and there's a fair bit of running as well to contend with. Some boards to step over and some steps as well for the riders to encounter along this course. A few little run-ups, nice and steep, and the pits will be very busy today. The riders then on the start line, getting themselves concentrated and ready for today's race. The only rider who isn't here of note, it's same as the women's rider, the leading rider there, Marianne Vos, did not take to the start, but the world champion of cyclocross for the men is Zdeněk Štýbar. Get those cowbells ready. Štýbar not choosing to ride today's cyclocross here in Milton Keynes. It was actually interesting last night. Sven Nys was talking about Štýbar, and he was asked whether he felt that Štýbar choosing to only ride certain races and then ride the World Championships was right for cyclocross. And many expected Nys to say, well, at the end of the day, he should be riding all of them, but actually he didn't. He said he sees Štýbar as the complete cyclocross rider. He is able to ride really strongly when he rides cyclocross. He can turn his attention to the road, and he also said he feels that someone like Štýbar will win Paris-Roubaix in his career. So an interesting bit of feedback there from Sven Nys last night. The crowd then looking forward to bringing these elite riders to the start line. This road you can see here was specially laid for this World Cup cyclocross. It only went down a couple of days ago. As we take a look here at the start list, 15 nations will be taking to the start of today's race. The countries represented, as we can see as we work our way through the field here. The Belgian team strong as always, with Sven Nys, the national champion. And the World Cup leader is also in the Belgian team, Kevin Pauwels. Kevin Pauwels riding for Sunweb Napoleon Games. But elite men's cyclocross is a national sport. There's the French team. Francis Moret, I think, could be a rider that we see do very, very well here today. Moret is the national champion of France. He has won a World Cup previously, and he is a rider who could do well in these sort of conditions, so we'll see how he does. There's a big British contingent led by the national champion, Ian Field. His girlfriend Annie Simpson rode the women's race earlier on. Ian Field rides for the Hargrove Cycles. So he is there leading this team. So far he has finished in the UCI World Cup Cyclocross previously. Pretty well. Ian has ridden in the top 20 on a few occasions, so we'll see how he does. Must just mention very quickly before the riders take to the start, the Irish team, they have 3 riders in the field today. David Montgomery, Glenn Kinning and Timothy O'Regan. They will be taking to the start. Nice to see an Irish team. And I've had a few messages about the Team Ireland taking to the start line today. So great to see them here in this Cup cyclocross, being in the and just enjoying the atmosphere. Everyone who's coming into the commentary box is saying that the atmosphere out there in the course is like a party. The music's being played, the beer tents are busy, as is always traditional in these cyclocross events. There's Jeremy Powers, the rides there for the Rafa Focus team. Stripping off, getting ready for action. That is Francis Moret. There he is, rides for FDJ. Good road rider as well as a good cyclocross rider. Alongside him then is the World Cup leader, again in the white coloured kit. This is Kevin Pauwels of Belgium. Riding cantilever brakes, not riding disc brakes this time.
The tape is still up. Couple of zippers are down a little bit.
And alongside him there is Tom Musen, riding for the Telenet Fidea team. Tom Musen finished 4th in Koksijde. He finished 5th in Valkenburg. Alongside him is Philip Valsleben, the national champion of Germany, wearing number 37. There he is. He's getting ready. Lars van der Haar, this prestigious young talent. He is a fantastic bike rider.
Fantastic mutter.
The boyfriend of the double world junior champion from Great Britain, Lucy Garner. And we'll see whether Lars van der Haar can power his way off the start. He doesn't look at anyone. And there is the master, Sven Nys, wearing number 5. Oh, big, deep breath there. The cavalry charge is about to happen. And Matt Commissaire is going to have to step out of the way very, very quickly, because this race is about to get started. And we're underway then. A pure sprint off the start line. Sven Nys having a little bit of a problem getting his feet into the pedals, but right in the middle is the World Cup leader. Going off the start. Look at this though, you have to get this one right. Off the camber. And Lars van der Haar, feet out of the pedals. First rider to hit the run-up is Kevin Pauwels. A couple of riders hitting the deck. One of them was Julian Taramarkats of Switzerland, who was right at the back there. But near the front is Laurens Sweeck, wearing number 10. We'll just see how they get down this adverse camber area and get underway. Right, who's at the front? The World Cup leader, making a few little mistakes, but the leader right now, over there on the left in the yellow and red, is Laurens Sweeck of Belgium, from Corendon Quadro. But we'll see who kind of lines up at the front of this race. Look at the start, though. You have to get that start absolutely perfect. Really powerful start. Oh, look at that. Right over the bars, a couple of riders. And it looked to me like Jodie Crawford was one of the riders right at the back of the string, wearing number 49, who was one of the riders who stopped. And Glenn Kinning, also of Ireland, right towards the back of the group. A few riders, another rider crashing there in the middle, trying to get the chain back on. Right at the front of the race, it is Laurens Sweeck of Belgium leading the race, which is fantastic to see him there at the front. There is Ian Field, the British champion, riding well. He said at the start he is looking forward to this. And Sven Nys there having a problem. The Belgian champion is trying to put his chain back on. Well, this is a big problem for the master. They call him the cannibal from Baal, and he's got big issues. Look at this. Sven Nys now took ages to get the chain back on the bike. So through the corner there, and we're starting to get things to settle down a little bit at the front of the race. And it's still number 10, Laurens Sweeck, who is the leader. Ian Field is up towards the front. I talked to him before the start, and he said he feels like he might have a little bit of an advantage here because he knows what it's like to ride in these muddy conditions in Great Britain. He knows what the mud will do, and he said he was going to ride about 1 bar in his tyres, about 14 psi in his tyres today. So really low. He said he was going to take as many of the risks with the tyres as he possibly could to just try and give himself a little bit of traction, and obviously very motivated to ride well. So a little bit of a replay here. It looks like a few riders having some problems going around there, but through this slow-mo camera we can see still the 2 riders at the front leading are the World Cup leader. There he is, wearing number 6, Kevin Pauwels. Kevin Pauwels goes round that little corner. Behind him is still number 10, Laurens Sweeck. And this will settle down over the opening lap. Also near the front is Sascha Weber, who is the rider in the black and lime green. His countryman, Philip Valsleben, who is a rider who likes to ride near the front at the beginning of races. We've seen him lead some of the World Cup cyclocrosses before. He is up there. So we kind of now have 5 riders emerging at the front of the race, and it's Kevin Pauwels who's looking like he's got the measure of the mud. Top 5 then: Kevin Pauwels, Laurens Sweeck, Klaas van ter Noot, Sascha Weber and Philip Valsleben. Up in the top 10 is also Ties van Amerongen and Toon Aerts. Tom Musen is also up there, and Lars van der Haar is in 7th place as Kevin Pauwels went into the pits area and comes out in 2nd place. It's the German champion who is the leader of the race now. Philip Valsleben, there he goes, puts the bike onto the shoulder, and it looks like these riders are taking things fast, but they're also technically being very careful. There's Lars van der Haar. I can't tell you what he said about the course before the start, but he said it was going to be crazy something out here in Milton Keynes this afternoon. He also said it would be carnage. Well, some of the British riders are doing well up towards the front of the race, and one rider taking the line there was number 52, Jack Clarkson. We've been watching him yesterday. He was warming up on the circuit, and he was taking a different line to all the other riders and was able to ride a little bit of this run-up, and it was giving him a little bit of an advantage on the rest of the field. Well, do join me on Twitter if you'd like to, @AntMcCrossan. Some of you have done already. Always great to hear from you, and we will answer some of your questions if it's at all possible. Kevin Powell's now leading in the white colours as the leader of the World Cup so far. Let's just run through his season. He started off in Valkenburg in second place. And then he was in Koksijde. He finished second there. And he is riding really well. The two opening rounds of the World Cup so far this season, Lars van der Haar took the win in Valkenburg, and Wout van Aert was the winner in Koksijde. Very different affair to what we're seeing here. Very sandy indeed. In a Koksijde course right up on the beach in the north, up towards Calais. Many British cyclocross fans go over there. They just travel. Some of them here in Milton Keynes will have been over in Koksijde. But now we have for three riders towards the front, and Klaas Vanternoot in the Sunweb colours. Right in the middle, wearing number 8. Kevin Powell's there on the right in the white, and on the left is Philip Valsleben. Lars van der Haar sprints his way up that little rise. Ian Field is riding very, very well in the top 15 places, 12th so far. And the British champion producing the best performance of his World Cup career so far. The cowbells being rung everywhere. The initial leader of the race was Laurens Sweeck, wearing number 10, but way, way down the field. There he is, wearing number 5. The black, yellow and red as the Belgian champion. And Sven Nys is having to do an awful lot of work to come back to the front of this race. Through the first lap in around about 7 minutes something here. And it's Lars van der Haar who leads in 7:40 for the opening lap, 20 kilometers an hour, and he leads ahead of Philip Valsleben, Kevin Powell, Sascha Weber, Klaas Vanternoot, Laurens Sweeck, Francis Moret, the Frenchman, Bart Arnouts, Tom Musen and Rob Peters. They're the first 10 riders across the line, and only 5 seconds separate those riders. Looking further back then, nearly at 30 seconds, is Sven Nys, alongside Jeremy Durran, the husband of Gabby Durran, the British rider. But up at the front now, and it's Sascha Weber there in the green and black who leads the race. Philip Valsleben, the German champion, on the right-hand side. Over on the right is Lars van der Haar, the Dutch champion, looking really strong as they made their way along that difficult section. Ian Field, there he is, the British champion, resplendent in the white, who is really riding strongly today. He was really looking calm and composed before the start of today's race, and I must admit, very impressive here from the British rider. Lars van der Haar looking ominously placed. And through this twists and turns now. And Sascha Weber, the German, just trying to get a little bit of an advantage as he goes into the pits area. On his wheel is the World Cup leader. All the different nationalities are represented across this course today. 15 different nations. We have the Czech Republic, Belgium, the Netherlands, France, Switzerland, Germany, United States of America, Spain, Great Britain, Canada, New Zealand, Poland, Denmark, Luxembourg and Ireland represented, but 2 German riders dominating the front of this race so far, as Walsleben goes down the drop-off there and really had the measure as he turns the corner. Lars van der Haar looks like he's enjoying this race. He said it was carnage was going to happen, but so far it isn't happening, and Ian Field moving his way up all the time. This Telenet Verdea team looking strong. Some riders just choosing a very slightly different line through there. Just looking to see where Sven Nys is. He's still not gone through the picture, has he? He's still a long, long way back. And he will work his way. There he is. So Sven Nys, the Trek rider, trying desperately now to get to the front, and don't think he won't get there. I've seen him before in a World Cup be a minute behind and still catch the leaders. He is an absolutely fantastic bike rider. We think about his performances, his palmares, his list of wins in his career. Sven Nys, twice the world champion, 6 times a winner of the World Cup, over 140 wins in his career, twice a rider who has taken part in the Olympic Games in mountain biking and has 55 wins in the Super Prestige as well. Last year he was 2nd in the World Championships to Zdeněk Štýbar. Last night he went to the little chat that we all went to, and he said he was there. He said to him, no energy wasted. He was sitting there talking to his fans. He was loving being here in Milton Keynes, and he was very much looking forward to putting on a show today, and he's going to have to put on a big show now to catch the leaders. 3 riders at the front, Walsleben followed by Webber. The next rider in the string there, Klaas Vantenhout in 3rd place. Talking to Sven Nys before the start, and he said he was going to put around about 1.2 bar into his tyres. Really, really soft. He was using a Rhino profile, 33mm tyres on the bike, and he was going to go with a 46 outer ring, a 39 inner, and he was going to have 11 teeth to 28 teeth on his back sprockets today for the race. So that was going to be the setup of his bike. I asked him whether he'd ridden in Great Britain before in a cyclocross. Couldn't remember whether he'd ridden as a junior or anything here. He said no, not at all. But he has ridden, of course, the Fort William Mountain Bike World Cup, and he's ridden Dalby Forest. So he kind of knew what to expect in Great Britain, but he said it was very, very important to ride here in Great Britain. He's heard all about the Tour de France and the women's tour, and he was really complimentary in particular about Helen Wyman and her role with the UCI in developing women's cycling, and felt that she had a big, big part to play. There is Sven Nys then going up the climb, wearing number 5, just measuring his effort, trying to not go into the red and never come back to the front of the race. He'll just work and work until he feels like he can come back. Ian Field in the top 15 places in this World Cup here in Milton Keynes for Great Britain, but still it is the German champion Philipp Walsleben as he leads this race and accelerates away from that turn. The 27-year-old German then rides for the BKCP Power Plus team, a very strong cyclo-cross squad, being tracked now by Kevin Powles. I've seen Walsleben do this before. The big question is whether he can hold on. He kind of gets a bit carried away sometimes, and there you are. He makes a big mistake there as he just grabbed onto the pillar to try and pull himself round the corner, but didn't quite get close enough, so he pulls himself off the bike. Kevin Powles tracking him well now. Walsleben on a Colnago bike. You'll notice if you look closely, he has that little triangular section between the top tube and the down tube. It gives his shoulders something to just rest on when he throws the bike onto his shoulder. And the British fans see the British champion there. And they give him a big, big urge on as Kevin Powles just taps his feet on the pedals to try and loosen a little bit of mud, give himself a little bit more ability to clip into the pedals, a bit more traction required. Here's the mistake then of Valsleben. As we head our way round now to complete the next lap. This is very, very fast indeed. 15 minutes covered. And that lap was 7 minutes and 46 seconds, just 6 seconds slower than the opening sprint lap. And across the line, the top 10 at that time. Field is still in there in the top 15. He's 15th across the line. Valsleben leads. Kevin Powles in second. Lars van der Haar in third place. Francis Moray, I said it might be his course today. Sascha Weber, the German. Klaas Vanternoot, Tom Musen, Bart Arnouts, Rob Peters, Korn van Kessel. And there is Sven Nys at 35 seconds now.
Mendes has moved up to 24th place, but he's 34 seconds down. The gap is holding, but he's moving up.
Really strength sapping this running area because the camera doesn't quite show just how steep the camber is at this point. And you really have to try and stay as high as you possibly can along this running section. Lars van der Haar is looking really strong today. Valsleben still has the initiative in this race as he leads Kevin Powles in second place. Lars van der Haar in third, the Dutch champion, 23 years of age. He won 3 rounds of the World Cup last season in Tabor, where the World Championships will be this year, in Valkenburg and in Zolder. Lars said he was going to go with 1.2 bar in his tyres, maybe even 1 bar in his tyres today.
Tread, what kind of tire pressure? But he went in and changed the bike, and as they go in, as you know, Matthew, they deliver little.
One of you, John Curtis, has just pointed out for me that Jeremy Powers was bunny hopping the steps. I didn't see that. I'm sorry. Let's try and keep an eye out for him doing it. Yesterday I saw him do it in practice. Very, very impressive indeed. And also being asked about the comparison of the elite men lapping to the elite women. The elite men are lapping at 7:40. The women were lapping in 8:50. So it just gives you an indication of how fast the men are going around this course, but actually how fast the women are going around. And a question about tyres. Most of these riders, a lot of them are on 33 mils right now. If you look at the Dugast tubulars that some of these riders are riding. On the front then, and the World Cup leader is starting to command this race a little bit more as he gets rid of Philip Valsleben round that little corner. Valsleben stays on the wheel though. Lars van der Haar trying to close the gap on these 2 leaders. You'll notice he's on disc brakes. Francis Moray, the French champion, going round that corner, sitting in 5th. Moray won the round in Namur last year. It was a fantastic effort from him. And there in the Citadel. Moray lives very, very close to that round of the World Cup, and he always comes on form at this time in the season. But a great study there of Lars van der Haar, now riding for the Giant team. accelerating up to the top of the course there and goes downhill very slightly here. Takes his foot out of the pedals. So he was ill a couple of weeks ago. He picked up a little bout of gastroenteritis and therefore was pretty laid low for the Coxader round of the World Cup. He decided to try and recover in time for Milton Keynes. Talking to him before the start, he said that he feels that potentially the World Cup is out of reach now. He thinks he could finish in the top 5 if he can start to accumulate some good points. But he said he didn't feel. I said, do you feel good? And he said, I don't feel 110% yet. So normally Lars must feel 110%, unlike the rest of us. Ian Field is producing a stunning performance today. The British champion clearly motivated, but look, here he is. Sven Nys is coming back. I'll give you an idea of his time split as soon as I get it, but he's coming back steadily. He was 35 seconds down, but it's not 35 seconds now by the looks of things, because as we make our way up this rise, Sven Nys is just, I think, hitting the bottom of this steps area. So he is starting to claw his way back into the action after making maybe not making a mistake, but his chain came off and he was left for ages just trying to put the chain back onto the bike. Lars van der Haar now sprinting his way on the tarmac, and he said you'll be able to feel the rims bumping on the tarmac as you make your way onto these more solid sections, because he wants as much traction on the bike as he can possibly get. And Lars van der Haar is about to make contact with the leaders. Kevin Powell's now trying to extend the advantage just a little bit, and with that acceleration of Lars van der Haar, Francis Moret is also coming across to the leading group, the French rider. Behind them there's a nice long string of many riders still in with a chance, but where is Sven Nys right now in this race? Is he going to come back to the leaders? There's one of the most incredible skin suits you'll ever see, that black and white colour, but Ian Field there, right on the wheel, is coming back now with the rest of the group and is now in 14th place. Leading that little trio, Bart Arnouts, and the World Cup leader is having to kick his pedals again to get the mud out. Lars van der Haar right on the wheel of Philip Valsleben, and look at that little bit of an acceleration from van der Haar. Took the right line. He is such an incredible bike rider, and now he goes sprinting round and goes uphill. He's going to get back in contact with Kevin Powell, who sits up here to take his shades off. Too much mud in the on the lenses. He looks around and now things calm down, and Lars van der Haar is going to go to the front. 5 laps of racing to go. 7:53, the slowest lap we've seen so far. 19.94 kilometers an hour. Going through the picture there, Tom Musen, who's having a good season so far. He won a round of the Super Prestige in Rudavoda. And over the line that time, let's just run through the top places for you. Lars van der Haar was the leader. Kevin Powell, the World Cup leader in white, in 2nd place. Valsleben was 1 second down. Moret of France was in 4th. Klaas van Tenoot in 5th. Musen in 6th. Korn van Kessel, followed by Sascha Weber, Bart Arnouts, Gianni Van Misch in 10th. Ian Field of Great Britain in 13th place. Could make a top 10 in his, that would be his top placing ever in a World Cup. Ooh, big crash there. That looked like Fabian Canel, who hit the netting there on the right-hand side on Trawler Corner. And Sven Nys now is coming back towards the leaders. There he is. He's not given up, has he, at all? He's just continuing the charge to try and come back. He's made up 4 seconds on the last lap. He was 35 seconds down. He's now 31. Just refuses to give in, doesn't he? He's such an incredible competitor. Through the pits then. The faces on these riders. A real supreme effort. There is Canal going into the netting on the side. Now we have a little quartet at the front. Lars van der Haar.
Now looks around, and the size of this lead group is
just going to go around that turn. He's quite happy to let the riders go through, share the pace-making a little bit. He's looking for Kevin Powles and Val Slaben to go to the front, and a bit of clever riding there. There must be a headwind section, so he's just calmed things down a little. Lets them take the wind. He'll just sit in the wheel, try and recover. And of course, he's trying to measure his effort, bearing in mind how ill he was just a couple of weeks ago. Powles leads, Val Slaben second, Van der Haar, the Dutch champion, sitting in 3rd place. Behind him, the French champion, Francis Moret. Sven Nys is coming back. Just imagine if he gets to the leaders. Further on down the field then, let's take a look at what is going on. There is Jeremy Durran from the Neon Velo, another rider having a few problems. In fact, I think he might have just hit that pillar. Whoops. Having a lot of problems. Yeah, this rider's had a very bad crash there. The crowd here in Milton Keynes have never seen a World Cup cyclocross before. It's the first time we've had one outside of mainland Europe. It is the normal places we go: Belgium, France, the Netherlands, the Czech Republic. But Simon Burney and his team have done an incredible job to bring World Cup cyclocross racing here to Great Britain. And we can see still the World Cup leader at the front in the white, leading, and Lars van der Haar going very, very well indeed as they make their way around the next bit of this course. Well, let's just have a chance now to get a bit of an insight into what this course is like. I've been on my own all the way through the racing so far, but I managed to get him to come and join us, because if we're in Great Britain and we're talking about cyclocross, then really we have to have someone with us in the commentary box who knows all about it. The junior world champion in 1992 in Great Britain, 8 times I think the national cyclocross champion, and twice a national road race champion. Welcome to Roger Hammond.
Good to be with you, Anthony. What a fantastic day for cyclocross in the UK. You know, it's have a World Cup in UK soil again. I think the National World Championships in 1992 was the last time we really had a big international race here. So, I mean, this is fantastic, isn't it? So many people enjoying best in the world racing cyclocross.
So, Roger, I'm just going to make sure your microphone's all right. So, Roger, you've been out. You've been just by the side of the course, and you've been taking a look. Just give us your analysis. What if you were a cyclocross rider, came out yesterday, looked at this, what would your analysis be of what this is like compared to other courses around the world?
It's a very, very challenging circuit. I mean, okay, we've had some wet weather. The rain has made it very sticky, very heavy in the mud. But the problem with this sort of course today is it's pretty tricky anyway. So where a cyclocross rider, you can really power through the deep mud on the straight sections, but then you take the downhills and the adverse cambers to recover. Here you can't do that because it's so slippery. You've got to hold on. Your whole body's trying to stay upright. You know, all those little movements on the bike, that all takes energy. And the problem is you just cannot recover. So today you will see a worthy winner. There's no hiding out there today. One mistake, you've got to make up minutes. So it's a very strong, very cool, calm, collected bike riders will win today.
Now we've seen Sven Nys has made a big mistake. He's 35 seconds down at the end of the first couple of laps. Coming back, he's inside 30 seconds now, but he's made that huge mistake. He's now at 24 seconds. So you'd say that the top riders here at the front, they're not going to let Nys come back now, are they?
I think it would be very difficult to come back. I mean, Sven Nys actually had a mechanical problem on the opening lap there. So, you know, and that's the problem with these kinds of circuits, is once you have a problem, it's very, very difficult to come back. And, you know, that's the difference with cyclocross. There's not too much time where people are going to stop and look at each other, because on every part of this circuit, that could be the moment you ride away. And when you've got this little group racing against each other, this pace will never drop. And what Sven really needs is these guys all to sit up and look at each other, but on a circuit like that, it's never going to happen. So I think he'll come back into the top 10, but to be challenging for the win, it will be a tall order for anybody.
Okay. I'm just checking, Roger, that we've heard everything you've said, because I think we might have had some little technical problems in the truck. So in case we haven't heard everything, the analysis of the course then. So it's a difficult course. It's slippy, it's muddy, it's got adverse cambers. Lars van der Haar told me it'd be carnage. Would it be a course you'd have liked to have ridden?
Yeah, this is a very traditional British cyclocross race. You know, real hard, heavy ground. You know, soft, heavy. When I say heavy, it's where it's really muddy. You know, there's no respite, even downhill. You know, the first part of the circuit I saw was the front group running downhill. So, you know, you can't even take that breather. You can't even just take the 10 seconds to recover. Basically, the start-finish straight is the only time these guys will get any recovery on the whole circuit. The rest of the time, they'll either be flat out at their threshold, just trying to keep them forward, moving forwards, or on the downhill tricky bits, they'll be trying to concentrate to stay upright. And that takes a lot of energy, you know, just a constant adjusting, the finding your balance, the finding the, you know, the best line down the descent. It takes a lot of energy, and concentration will be the key today. You'll see it later on in the race. As riders get tired, the first thing they lose is concentration. So, you know, I expect some of these guys to start making mistakes once they get into the final stages of this race.
So we're 4 laps to go now. Oops, a big mistake. As you go. Valsleben now has made a big mistake, the German champion, so he slides. This is a really tricky bit, though, isn't it? Adverse camber, really muddy. And what I'm amazed about every time I go to a World Cup is just how low the tyre pressures are to make sure that a rider, you know, can get some traction.
Well, that's it. The flatter the tyre, the better, the lower the pressure in the tyre. As you sit on it, it squashes the tyre flat. So effectively, with low tyre pressures, you increase the amount of tyre that's in contact with the ground. And the more area you have, the more grip you have. So yeah, tyre pressures, tyre treads, this is what these top-level world-class cyclists will sit. They'll come to the circuit, they'll take one look at the circuit, and they'll know exactly what they need. And that separates the real good cross riders from the rest. You know, they can judge the equipment, because the equipment will make a massive difference. Certainly on these extreme courses like today, where, you know, they're really technical. You know, having the right wheels, the right equipment, the right gear ratios, that will make tremendous, you know, that almost makes as much as training hard. You know, it's such a big difference it makes.
Just give us a bit of an insight very quickly about the pits. We see this pits area and it looks busy and you've got to go in and get your bike, but in terms of equipment, what's in there for a rider?
Well, they'll have different bikes in there. You know, they'll have spare bikes, and as the course, you know, the other thing we don't talk about too much is as this race goes on, the course is constantly changing. You know, we can see, look how muddy this is now. You know, a day ago it was all green grass, now it's mud. So they'll have bikes with different tyre pressures, different treads as the course develops through the race as well. And this is, you know, this is where these guys have a world-class team. I was always amazed. Sven Nys, he turned up with a bigger truck than our entire road team had, just with his spare bikes, yeah. Different combinations of tyre treads, pressures, and the mechanics. The mechanics they have is more than a world-class professional road team has for a stage race. That's how important it is for these guys to have the pits. You know, we spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds on changing the weight of a bike, you know, losing 100 grams here, 50 grams there. You know, you ride a bike on this circuit for a lap and you'll be carrying a kilo of mud. So they change their bikes almost twice a lap, just to get rid of that extra mud and make sure the gears work. Because, you know, one problem with your gears, one jumping gear, one sprocket, and the race is over almost.
And then a couple of final questions, because Roger, I know you're here and everyone wants to say hello to you, because you, in terms of British cyclocross, everyone remembers that win of you taking the junior world title, and then you were one of the trailblazers for cyclocross as far as British riders is concerned. What a crowd. It's incredible how many people have come out here today.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, it is really like a homecoming. I mean, yeah, I was a trailblazer, but I also saw Stuart Marshall here. He was a real trailblazer. He won the World Junior Championships 9 years before me.
1986, wasn't it? I think.
So he was really the guy that I really wanted to emulate. And, you know, to see him here, Simon Burney's done a fantastic job organising this. And what a great gesture to invite so many people from British cyclocross that supported the sport all these years. And then, you know, just to see something like this, it's fantastic celebration of you know, but British cycling in general. You know, first we had world-class track, then we had the Tour de France come to the UK, and now even cyclocross is prospering in the UK. So we can't, you know, British cycling have done a fantastic job in developing all forms of the sport in the UK, and, you know, it's a real celebration of cycling at the moment.
And Nikki Harris, podium in the elite women's race, great performance that.
It was brilliant. It was fantastic. You know, you get those girls, Helen Wyman, Nikki Harris, have just been, you know, holding cyclocross on the world level for Great Britain for so many years. So for them to be able to perform in front of their home crowds in a World Cup event and podium, you know, it's a fantastic feeling. It's a feeling you never forget, having a home crowd chant you on in a world-class event.
Right, one more question then, Roger, and then I'll let you go. So we've got a front group now of Kevin Powles, Francis Moray, the young guy here, Lars van der Haar, Lucy Garner's boyfriend, and right on the back, I can't quite see in the picture who's there, but anyway, because we've been chatting away as we make our way up there. I think it's Klaas Vantenhout. So, is Sven Nys going to get up to them, or are we going to see this quartet race away and take the victory?
I think we're going to see this quartet race away now, and then on the last lap it's going to be somebody who's prepared to take that risk. There's so many opportunities where you could win everything or lose everything, and you know, with a group this close together, somebody's going to have to try. Somebody's going to have to chance their arm, and it'll be the person that rides down that adverse camber without touching the brakes. He'll be the guy that rides away.
Fantastic. Roger Hammond, junior world champion, multiple national champion of Great Britain, has ridden the World Cups at this level. Always a pleasure to see you. Thanks for taking the time. I know you're in demand today here in Milton Keynes, but great to see you. Thanks.
Thanks for having me. It's been great. Thank you.
So there we are, Roger Hammond joining us in the commentary box. Sorry you might have missed the first bits of him talking, but we repeated what he said because we were having a few little audio issues now and then, but we've sorted it all out. There we go. So there's his analysis. Roger Hammond, who of course won his World Junior title in Great Britain, so he knows what it is like to race in front of a home crowd. The likes Ian Field is experiencing right now. But of course he's ridden these world level events, and he now knows that exactly what it is like. And thanks for all the messages on Twitter. I really appreciate them. We knew that Roger's mic wasn't quite working at the start, but that's why I kept him here. And we'll try, and we tried to get it right, and eventually we managed to hear. So we've managed to hear everything that Roger said, despite his mic not quite working for the start of that interview. So thank you very much to all of you for joining us today on Twitter and watching the action. Here's the front of the race then, Francis Moray, the rider from FDJ, leading this race. The French champion, Kevin Powles, in second place. Lars van der Haar in third. Klaas Vantenhout, the Sunweb rider, is at the back of that quartet who are leading their way up the steps again this time. But Sven Nys is the rider who is desperately trying to get back to the front of this race now. And he is, I'll just give you the time check. The last time check I have is 28 seconds to Sven Nys. Roger doesn't think he'll get there. Can he get anywhere close? He's certainly in the top 10. Val Slaben, having made that mistake earlier on, is now closing back up on the leaders. Also up towards the front is Tom Musen as well. And here is Sven Nys, who's not far away as he turns the bike left and right round the corner. 3 laps to go. And 39 minutes of racing completed, and we still have the same group at the front, but the laps are starting to slow down. 19.61 kilometers an hour. That was an 8-minute and 1 second lap that time. And at the front then, Francis Moret, Lars van der Haar, Kevin Pauwels and Klaas van der Noot. But Sven Nys this time, the gap is closing all the time. 23 seconds he has. So he's gone from 35 seconds to 23. The question is he going to run out of time to catch the front group before the finish line? It's a massive ask for him to get there, as we see Tom Musen. And being followed there by Korn van Kessel. Francis Moret looking good. I just feel that it could be his day today. He likes the run, the mud, the trudging his way through this sort of course, and it's... Oops, Kevin Pauwels made a big mistake there. He held Moret up a little bit as well. And here is Sven Nys. Did he make a mistake? The answer is... Draw the corner. Almost in the netting. Somehow he didn't quite do it, but he scared the entire crowd all the way along there. Lars van der Haar leading now, and Klaas van der Noot in second place. Van der Haar gets out of the saddle, decides to go into the pits area. And in the pits today, his sister is assisting, and she is pretty scared about assisting in the pits today. The jet washers are really, really high, and Lars' sister is quite short, and she was worried about reaching them. So Van der Haar on a nice clean bike goes out of the pits. He's on the disc brakes. Talking to Helen Wyman's husband Steph before the start of the women's race, he was telling me that Helen has been on disc brakes for the last 2 years. She really likes the way that they stop, and the fact that the braking surface is well away from the mud means that she's always able to control her braking. And he said, if you think about it, she's ridden 22 races so far this season. She's had to bleed her brakes once in 22 races, and he knows that if he'd been on cantilever brakes, she would have replaced her cables at least 3 times in those 22 races. And he also said he'd have had to replace all her bar tape. There would be cable outers and everything else that would have been replaced. So he feels that from the point of view of technology, it's a great move. Not all the riders like to be on disc brakes. Last night, Sven Nys was saying that in his head, he can't mentally deal with having disc brakes because he feels they're heavier. But Katie Compton said to him in the question and answer session we were at, he said, Sven, you're talking about 1 pound, and said it doesn't really matter. But he just says mentally he can't deal with having disc brakes because he's always ridden with cantilever brakes. But we're talking about a professional rider, Sven Nys, who goes back to, in terms of his performances, he's 38 years of age now, so he is a long, long way back through his career. The younger riders like Lars van der Haar, don't worry about them. They like the technology, and they're happy to race on them, and they see the advantage. So it's just each to their own as Lars pulls his foot out there. But the leading riders still Van der Haar, Van der Noot, and Kevin Pauwels now leads in the World Cup leaders jersey. Valsleben of Germany has got himself back together after his mistake. Francis Moret also up there. And the top 8 includes Sven Nys now at 25 seconds. Further on down, the gap after Sven Nys is well over 30 seconds to the next riders. The leading 5 separated by 3 seconds, and it's actually a lot closer now in terms of the time splits. And I hope those of you who've asked about lap times for Sven Nys, we've just updated that, so he's now at 23 seconds is the gap to the Belgian champion as he tries desperately to find his way back to the leaders. But they are going shoulder to shoulder up the steps that time. Kevin Powell still with his sunglasses on the front of his helmet there. So Roger Hammond doesn't think that this man can get to the front. He thinks he'll get somewhere close. But the big question is, can he catch these 5 leaders? That chain coming off has cost him dear. Big sprint. This is a really tough area of the course because it's slightly uphill. You come out of that corner, you don't have any traction, and then you have to sprint flat out, and then you go over that crest and then back downhill again, past the podium stage where we'll present the winners later. Roger Hammond earlier was mentioning Stuart Marshall, the junior world champion in 1986. Hammond was the winner in 1992. I was trying to get a bit of an insight into the amount of training that these cyclocross riders do on the road, as well as in the normal kind of muddy conditions. And Sven Nys gave me a bit of an insight this morning into his sort of training. He says that during the season he races 2 cyclocross races at the weekend. He then has a recovery day on a Monday, and he does about 2 hours really gently on the bike on the road. He has a massage that day, and of course he's eating the right things to recover. And then he does 4 days on the road. One of those days is in the woods as well, in the mud and the normal cyclocross. He does some motor pacing in those days as well, so he has the real road speed to be able to contest races at this level. So it's a really mixed bag of training, but the most important thing for him is the recovery. But he says it takes him a day to recover, and then he's back into the training again. The leaders come through to an enthusiastic crowd yet again. 47 minutes of racing covered. 8 minutes and 2 seconds, the slowest lap so far. 19.57 kilometers an hour for the leading riders. 8 minutes and 2. And our opening lap was 20.5 kilometers an hour. We're now down at 19.57 as Van der Haar goes to the far right-hand side and takes a totally different line down here to everyone else. Right foot right out of the pedals and gets the bike back on. He's just measuring his effort. He's just staying there. Lars obviously knows he's been ill in the last few weeks as well, so as the race continues, and like Roger said, the rider's getting more and more tired, there is the potential of him blowing up before the end, so you just want to measure, make sure he's still feeling good, and then he'll feel really confident when he hits that last lap. If he's still there with the leaders, which looks like he will be, then he'll really start to motor. But Moray now can sense that today might be his day. Goes through that really wet section. On his wheel immediately is Klaas Vantenhout. But Francis Moray, to me, is looking very, very good indeed.
Of course, he is brilliant at it. Look at how low he rides. He's got a lower center of gravity.
Moray's birthday coming up on the 8th of December. He's 33 years of age. Through the pits for all the riders that time in the leading group. There is Ian Field. Should just update you on him. He is sitting in around about 12th place right now. And if Ian Field continues like this, it will be his best place in a World Cup in his career. A great day for the British champion, being really motivated today. Jonathan Page, for any American fans, is now in 15th place. He's about 1 minute down on the leaders. So the top 10 places made up of Francis Moray, Kevin Powers, Klaas van Tenoet, Philip Valsleben, Lars van der Haar, Tom Musen, Korn van Kessel, Sven Nys, Bart Arnouts, Rob Peters, and Fabian Canel is the rider who is in 11th. Ian Field in 12th place right now. Field is having a little bit of a tussle with Laurens Zwiek of Belgium. Thanks for joining me on Twitter. At @McCrossan is where you can ask me any other questions that you would like to know. And there is Sven, again just trying to track his way down that really adverse camber, muddy section without going in to see the crowd. And Moray now looks like he's putting in a little bit of a dig as he tries to take the initiative at the front of the race and get rid of his pursuers, who are immediately onto the wheel. But there's a little bit of a struggle going on, both a couple of riders a bit further back. Valsleben, to me, looks like he is really starting to feel the tempo. Moray looking so strong. A few questions about the disc brakes. You're right, not many people are on disc brakes. Lars van der Haar right now is one of the exceptions in this race. If we look through the front of the group there, I think I'm right in saying that van der Haar is the only rider who's on the disc brakes. Moray is riding cantilevers, as you can see. So is Van Tenoet, Valsleben is, and Powles is trying to go the inside track there to go through, but that didn't work. He has to hold on to the pillars at the side of the track. The rider's going past the giant washing machine at the side of the track there on the left-hand side. And Moray is still the leader. If it comes to a sprint, he has a very, very good chance of winning this race. Total focus from the Frenchman as he accelerates up there. Kevin Powles just off the bike, running it alongside him there. Ian Field, for British fans, is in 13th place now, 1 minute and 12 seconds down on the leader, Francis Moray. Moray, a multiple national champion. When he gets to the World Championships, he generally has the entire FDJ bus to himself. Travels in style to the Worlds. When you're the World Cup leader, you must have an incredible stock of washing powder to get your kit clean afterwards, because it's a true test of how good your washing powder is. Francis Moray at the front, still using those shoulders. It's a true test of using your entire body, cyclocross. It's a fantastic workout. And the man we had in the commentary box earlier, Roger Hammond, is a rider who just powerful and had all the right attributes to race cyclocross well. Moray now just pulling out a little bit of an advantage. Van der Haar is a little bit further back here. I don't know whether the illness that Van der Haar has had is starting to pay now. But Moray looks like the strongest rider. Valsleben rocking and rolling a bit. Lars van der Haar looking a bit paler now, isn't he? It's really noticeable when you interview Lars van der Haar, when you're just talking to him before the start of a race. There's many riders who just, they'll talk and they'll be quite relaxed. Van der Haar is really intense. He stares you right in the eyes. He talks straight at you. His answers are really great. He just gives you little quotes all the time. He said it would be carnage out here, and he's not far from wrong. I asked him how he would describe the course today, and he said British. He's never raced a British cyclocross before, but that was his summary. Now, I wonder whether he's just trying to calm his pulse rate down a little bit. As Hammond said earlier, the riders are going to be right on their limit, and now they're going to come through, and they're going to have one lap of racing to go. Francis Moray leads. Van der Noot goes to the left-hand side of our screen there. 7:54. That's a fast lap again, 19.9 kilometers an hour. So they have accelerated a little bit, and now Klaas Van der Noot is going to try and win this race. Van der Haar getting himself back to the front. It's going to be a showdown over the last lap here in Milton Keynes. So far this season in the Super Prestige, Kevin Pauwels won in Zonhaven ahead of Nice and Van der Haar. Tom Musen won in Rudevorde. Klaas Van der Noot was in third place that day, behind Mathieu van der Poel and Tom Musen. He won in Gavere in the Super Prestige, so he's been on form so far this season. And in the World Cup, Van der Noot was in fourth place in Valkenburg behind Lars van der Haar. He finished 38 seconds down. And Van der Noot was fifth in Koksijde in the sand dunes. But now he is accelerating as he tries to go away from the World Cup leader, Kevin Pauwels. And Van der Noot puts in a massive attack and tries to break the will of the rest of the riders. Look at this, fully committed, splashing his way through the mud.
Doing all the work at the moment.
As he goes round the corner, Klaas Van der Noot has really put in a massive effort. He's really kicking on. He looks around, he'll get a clean bike this time. He's safely off the bike. He gets back onto a clean machine. Van der Noot got a little bit clogged up in the mud there, but he got it right as he went round the corner. Murray, oh, he had a problem. He had to jump off very quickly. Lars van der Haar a little bit further back. The distance is 6 seconds to the 23-year-old Dutch champion, Lars van der Haar, the winner of the World Cup last year. Klaas Van der Noot now, the leader, but Kevin Pauwels is edging really close now as they go round the corner of the sponsor of Ian Field, the Great Britain rider. There is Van der Haar. Can he get himself back to the front of this race? Sprinting hard, he looks like he's on his limit to me. Pauwels now leading in the white. Van der Noot in the red and white. He's tried one big attack, it hasn't happened, but he has managed to get rid of the rest of the riders. Francis Moray knows that if he can get onto the tarmac section and be in with a chance of the sprint, he can win this World Cup. To go with the World Cup he won last year in Namur towards the end of the season. We'll be there for the next round in the Citadel. If you want to go and watch more World Cup cyclocross, go to uci.ch. That's the UCI, the governing body's website. That's where you'll find all the information about these World Cups. If you've been inspired to ride some World Cups, some cyclocross and go and watch some World Cups, then do. It's fascinating racing. It's an absolutely brilliant winter sport. As Kevin Pauwels now tries to go away, he looks around at Van der Noot. Kevin Pauwels, the Sunweb Napoleon Games cycling team rider. 30 years of age is Kevin Pauwels as he makes his way onto the little path section, turns right, goes past one of the hospitality areas. And now Pauwels is trying to test Van 't Noot out. He wonders whether that attack of Van 't Noot has put paid to the power he's got in his legs, as Van 't Noot grabbed onto the pillars there at the side of the track to just try and get a little bit more traction if he possibly could. It's a flat-out race as they go again past the giant washing machine on the right-hand side. Francis Moray, can he now finish on the podium? Van der Haar is getting pretty close to the finish line. Kevin Pauwels looking to win another one. Van 't Noot and Pauwels side by side as they go up this next little section. Just to give you an idea, Sven Nys now is at 33 seconds. He's in the top 8 places so far in the race, considering how far he was behind. This is an incredible effort as Moray and Van der Haar look to try and get on the podium. It's going to be a tussle between these two in the mud. Who is going to be the master of the Milton Keynes Mudfest today? Van 't Noot leads onto the jump off here, and they go shoulder to shoulder. It's going to be similar to the women's race. And now Moray is trying to get himself back there to these leaders. Oh, Van 't Noot now sprints his way up the hill. Kevin Pauwels, who won in Spa-Francorchamps in the Super Prestige ahead of Lars van der Haar just a week ago, looking to try and win this one. He's finished second in Valkenburg, second in Koksijde, and now he wants to be on the top step of the podium. But is Van 't Noot going to take away his dream today? It's getting really, really close now to the line. Van 't Noot stamps on the pedals yet again. Kevin Pauwels desperately trying to get to the wheel to stay with him. Up the hill, the crowd making their way across, and it has been an incredible atmosphere here in Milton Keynes. Congratulations to Simon Burney and all his team who've put on an incredible race. Look at that. The theatre of Milton Keynes welcomes Van 't Noot round past the stage. He's now going to set himself up to try and open up the gap on Kevin Pauwels, who is still there. He hasn't got rid of the World Cup leader. Van 't Noot back off. He slips and slides round the corner, finding a little bit of grip. The shoes do well there as they find a little bit of traction, and Pauwels now takes the outside line as they go up over the little hill. One more hump. The crowd going absolutely nuts as they see these two champions, with the sun fading a little bit here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Now they're going to hit the steps. He's not going to ride them, is he? Look at this. Van 't Noot's going to ride them. No, he's not. He couldn't possibly. He rides and runs all the way up, goes to the top of the hill, looks for the acceleration, jumps back onto the bike. Kevin Pauwels is there. They go round here, the mud all over their faces, absolutely caked in it. He gets his feet safely into the pedals. Kevin Pauwels now, is he going to strike the last pow and beat the rider who's been accelerating every twist and turn of this course? Pauwels is set up. He's going to try and come out of the slipstream. Behind them, it's all about the places. And now they come round the corner. Van 't Noot is going to go for it. It's going to be Pauwels. It's going to be a sprint for the line. Who's going to get it? Kevin Pauwels takes the victory here in Milton Keynes, beating Van 't Noot into second place. The World Cup leader takes it. What a splendid finish. Moray now sprinting against Van der Haar, who can't get his feet into the pedals. Caked in mud takes third. 16 seconds down. The World Cup winner last year and the Dutch champion Lars van der Haar in fourth place at 19 seconds. Now we'll count our way through the rest of the riders as Valsleben kicks his feet onto the pedals there and just tries to get his shoes to engage. They don't quite. He had a good initial part of the race, but Valsleben there is going to finish in fifth place at 43 seconds. The next riders to cross the line will be Korn van Kessel there, wearing number 21. He will hit the line ahead of Tom Musen and Sven Nys. Look at that. What a day for the Belgian champion. He's still going to finish in the top 10. He was 35 seconds down after his chain came off. He so desperately wanted to win today. Crosses the line just over a minute down, 1 minute 12 seconds in 8th place at the end of this World Cup cyclocross here in Milton Keynes. 13th place is going to go to Bart Arnouts there in the red and yellow. Behind him, I think, is Rob Peters. Also up there, wearing number 27, is going to be Fabian Canal. And look at this, Ian Field finishes in his top place ever in a World Cup. Fantastic for him, the British champion. Applauds the crowd just out of camera shot, and Ian Field finishes in 12th place here in Milton Keynes. Bart Vellens also finishing. These riders know they have been in an incredible bike race today. The course set up to test these riders to their absolute limits. But Kevin Powles continues his domination of the World Cup so far this season in the last couple of rounds. He's consistent, and that's what it's all about. Jim Arnouts crosses the line, wearing number 14. But here's the finish. Vantenhout was the one who opened up the sprint. He came round that corner, but Powles just had the power to go past him, and he struck the hammer blow. The World Cup leader will maintain his advantage, and he wins here in Milton Keynes today. Just thinking about the two races that we've had here today for the elite women and elite men. The elite women was a photograph for the finish, and the men was almost a photograph too. And the next rider to cross the line there is Jeremy Powers, the national champion of the United States of America. There's the sprint for 3rd place between the French champion and the Dutch champion. Well, Van der Haar, considering how ill he was a couple of weeks ago, really is now looking good. I think we'll see him come back. Confirmation then of the result. Kevin Powles wins in 1 hour, 3 minutes and 1 second. Vantenhout of Belgium in 2nd place. The Frenchman, Francis Mouret, in 3rd place, setting himself up for the next round in Namur. Lars van der Haar in 4th place, the Dutch rider at 19 seconds. Germany took 5th place with Philip Valsleben at 43 seconds, and Korn van Kessel in 6th at 58. Sven Nys then, not a day for him with his mechanical problem at the beginning, but he clawed his way back to finish in the top 10, finishing 8th today. There's confirmation then that Ian Field of Great Britain was in 12th place, his top placing ever in a World Cup. Jonathan Page of the United States makes his way into 14th place. Lots of Belgians there in the top 20, which is never a surprise. And Marcel Wildhaber of Switzerland also made it into the top 20 today. Ticking down, Jeremy Powers in 25th place for the United States of America, and the Czech Republic represented there by Michael Boros in 24th and Radomir Suminek in 27th. That's a lovely shot, isn't it, across the Campbell Park here in Milton Keynes with the sun shining. Well, I think the riders here will go away with great memories of a warm welcome here in this Milton Keynes course. Look at that, jumping his way up the steps. That was Joseph Batalu of Spain. Well, look at this. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and right to the top. The crowd loved that. Well, he didn't figure in the top places, but he got himself on the screen. Wheelies all round.
Milton Keynes, you guys have outperformed Coach Scheide. You guys have held on.
Well, these fans really have ignited this whole park and given us a stunning atmosphere as we see Ben Sumner about to cross the line for Great Britain.
All the day long. They're all going to be here next week. Here all weekend. They're going to be here.
Well, I think the beer tents are going to be pretty busy for the next few hours here in Milton Keynes. It's been a great atmosphere. And here's the World Cup standings after this round, the third round of the World Cup, of which there are 6. Kevin Powles is now the leader, maintained with 220 points now. 185 to Klaas van Tenoet in second, Korn van Kessel in third. Lars van der Haar there in 6th place. And Moray with his performance today into 7th. So the mechanics are going to be pretty busy, a lot of tidying up to do. And there is the massive stage, which we will see the top 3 in a few moments' time. These guys are going to wear their cowbells with pride for the rest of the day. And those youngsters maybe have been inspired to take up the sport. There is Sani Kant. She wears her World Cup leaders jersey. Nice clean bike alongside her now. She'll have been pretty busy since the end of the race. They have all sorts of protocol stuff to do. The race interviews, the press conference, anti-doping, all the usual things they have to do. It takes them hours. I wouldn't walk down there if I were you. This could end in tears. So let's take a look then at the finish. Again, there is Klaas van Tenoet leading out. Kevin Powles, though, he just had more power left in those legs. Van Tenoet, big breath there. He just knew that Powles was the stronger. As they came out of that turn, it's a really tough little final corner. Doesn't look as much on camera, but it's very, very hard to get any acceleration. Well, what a magnificent race today. Real tussle with 5 riders towards the front. But let's hear from one of those riders now.
Kevin Powles, that sprint looked like a piece of cake. Was die sprint nu zo eenvoudig als hij eruit zag?
Nee, het was heel was een toer sprint eigenlijk. Het was aankampen om Klaas te volgen en ik kon hem net volgen.
It was really difficult following Klaas, but then it was a really hard sprint after a tough race. Jouw GC, the World Cup looks yours because you have 35 points. You're 35 points ahead of Van Tornout. 35 punten is de voorsprong op Klaas. Is die wereldbeker nu eigenlijk al binnen?
Nee, zeker nog niet. Het is Klaas, die is heel goed aan het rijden en Tom die staat ook nog redelijk, denk ik. Dus binnen is het nog zeker niet, maar het ziet er wel goed uit.
Klaas Van Tornout is really riding well for the moment. Also, Tom Mason is not so far behind, so World Cup GC is not over yet. Then this race, how tough was this one? The very first World Cup in Great Britain in Cyclo-Cross, de eerste wereldbeker veldrijden in Engeland. Hoe zwaar was deze wedstrijd?
Heel zwaar. Het was redelijk veel loopstroken in en dat is heel lastig voor mij. Ik kreeg wel last van mijn rug op het einde, maar ja, ik was er nog goed genoeg om te kunnen winnen.
Very tough course. At the end I got back pain in the back and it was a lot of running involved in this race course. Many congratulations, felicitaties, Kevin Pauwels.
Bedankt.
Thank you very much to René Schulze for making sure that we had the translation of the interviews there from Kevin Pauwels. As we get ready now for the presentation. Nice trophy, isn't it? So there's the stage that awaits the top three today. Right up here on the top of the hill, as many people think Milton Keynes is a pretty flat place, it's not at all. The hill outside has been a venue here in the Campbell Park for some magnificent bike racing. Tomorrow the amateur British riders are going to be able to ride on this course in a national trophy event. So the course being left for another 24 hours until it's all taken away. Meanwhile, the mechanics continue with the work. It's a few hours of jet washing and making sure everything is right for the next race. So the photographers getting themselves ready to take the photos around the world to everyone who wants to see what happened here in this World Cup today. All the crowd there in the background. Thousands and thousands of people have come here, many new cyclocross fans, and that's what it's all about. Looking to inspire people to ride bikes, whether it be to ride to work or to get involved in competition. So some of the crowd making their way out of the Campbell Park. But meanwhile, we're going to cast our attention to the stage for the presentation of the Elite Men's World Cup. So in third place today from France, Francis Moret. He likes this sort of condition. The muddy, wet conditions are absolutely perfect for his riding style.
Francis Moret. In second place. Please welcome Klaas Van Tornout of Belgium.
Klaas Van Tornout in second place for the Sunweb team, the Belgian rider, on the second step of the podium today.
The winner of the first ever UCI Cyclo-Cross World Cup held outside of mainland Europe is Kevin Pauwels of Belgium.
And the winner of the first ever World Cup here in Great Britain, Kevin Pauwels. On to the top step of the podium. Finished second in Valkenburg, second in Koksijde, and now he takes the third round. There's your podium. Pauwels Van Turnhout and Francis Moray.
And by virtue of his victory today, our current World Cup leader will remain Kevin Powles of Belgium.
He's had a great start to this season. So consistent all the way through these World Cups. Now he pulls on the white jersey as the leader of this World Cup at the midway point.
Ladies and gentlemen,
And takes the salute of the crowd. So he'll carry that jersey now to the next round in Namur. And the French national anthem. Kevin Powles then wins in Milton Keynes to continue in the leader's jersey in the UCI Men's Elite World Cup. Thank you very much for joining me, Anthony McCrossan, today, bringing you this coverage. The first time the World Cup has visited Great Britain. Join us for the next round in Namur. Bye for now.